A common flaw found in religion is to take things that are simple and make them hard. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah. Day number 5 of Eikev, meaning because. Let's go over to Deuteronomy, chapter number 10. 2 verses today, verse 12 and 13. And now, Israel, what is Yahweh your Elohim asking of you but to fear him, to fear Yahweh your Elohim, to walk in all of his ways, to love him, to serve Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being, to guard the commands of Yahweh and his laws, which I command you today for your good. 5 things. Just 5 things. Fear him, walk in his ways, love him, serve him, and then guard all of the commands that he's given to us. Now, it's a little more involved than just 5 simple things, but there are 5 categories of response to him. If we want to hear what the prophets say, Michah puts it this way in Michah chapter 6 and verse 8. He has declared to you, O man, what is good, and what does Yahweh require of you to do, but to do what is right, to love loving commitment, and to walk humbly with your Elohim. He makes it even more simple. If we go over to the book of Matthew, chapter number 7, and verse 12, Yeshua says, therefore, whatever you wish men to do to you, do also to them, for this is the Torah and the prophets. And then in chapter 22, beginning with verse 37, Yeshua said to him, you shall love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart, with all your being, and with all your mind. This is the first and great commandment, and the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these 2 commands hang all the Torah and the prophets. Yeshua says these are not the only 2 commands, but they are the foundation of all of the commands. Loving Yah fully, completely, with all of your being, and then likewise loving your neighbor the same way you would love yourself. If we can do those 2 things, we will then demonstrate a heart that says that I'm willing to obey the rest of the commands. Religion. Religion is the mechanisms, the set of rules and boundaries that mankind employs to satisfy his own quest in being righteous. It is his attempt to take what has been said and state it elaborately enough that he feels satisfied about it. Sometimes we would look at the Torah and say, and that's all there is? If we've come out of institutions and persuasions, denominations, organizations, where the list of rules is long, complicated, overbearing, very restrictive, then walking out of that and seeking then just to read the book and do it. And now that sounds very simplistic, but that has been our attempt, at least for my home and my family, as well as our congregation. Let's, to the best of our ability, just read this book and do what it says. It really is not that hard. Moshe even said, none of these commands are too hard for you. Someone asked me one time, years and years ago, why would you want to put yourself back under the bondage of the law? My reply was, which one of the commands that he has given to us is it that you don't want to obey and that you would actually want to disobey? Which ones are you thinking that they're too hard to keep? And the typical response is, well, all those sacrifices and things. Folks, we're not dealing with sacrifices now. We don't have a temple. We don't have a priesthood. We don't have what it would take for sacrifices to be instituted. And that's a whole nother discussion. But for this moment, for this time, for this season that we're in right now, beyond the sacrifices, and it's not to say we shouldn't study the sacrifices. There's so much revelation about who Yeshua is found in the teachings on the sacrifices. So we still study them. That being said, what is it in the Torah that you don't want to do? Are you wanting to disobey your parents? Or you wanting to cheat at business? Are you wanting to defraud someone? Are you wanting to serve another God? Are you wanting someone else's spouse? Exactly what is it that you're after here? So when we read these commands, Moshe says, the world will see these rules and commands, these mitzvot, and realize these are good. These are good things to order a society by, and they will marvel at us. Coming into the Torah and starting to read it, study it, and then apply it, we do the exact same thing of the places that we came from. We start making our applications so stringent, so confining, so restrictive, that we squeeze the life out of what it is that Yah is saying. Simply follow me with all your heart in these ways, within the boundaries of the Torah, which are immense, enlarged, full of expansive room. There is plenty of room for joy, for laughter, for the embracing of life, for the engaging of exploits in business and commerce and building your dreams and your homes and your families and being instrumental in helping others, using ingenuity, being an entrepreneur, creating, designing, growing, maturing. There is so much positive that is in there. And it's built on the pillars of, we're going to fear Elohim. That is, we're not that we're going to cower in the corner and just believe that he hates us and is looking for an excuse to kill us and destroy us, but rather we have a reverential fear of him. We recognize who he is. We never stray from the reality of his set apartness, of his holiness, of his purity, and we seek to model our life after that. That we walk in his ways. What are his ways? Two things primarily: justice and righteousness. Tzedakah v'mishpatim. He's wanting us to be fair and just with those that are around us, to seek justice for those who cannot have it for themselves, and to walk uprightly and righteous. Thirdly, to love him. Now, how hard is that? Honestly, loving him who loves us, believing in him who believes in us, trusting in him who has entrusted to us so much, focusing our time and our attention on him and just loving him, serving him fully. What does that mean? It doesn't mean that you are a slave to him from the moment you wake up to the moment you crash in the bed, exhausted, and fall asleep. What it means for us is to serve him with all of our heart. Whatever it is that we do in his name, to set his name apart, that we do it with all of our being. That we don't give him sloppy work. We don't do it half-heartedly, casually, but we put ourselves into it. We put some grunt into it. Make things work well. And finally, that we guard his commands. That is, we're not looking for loopholes and variances on the truth and not looking for excuses, but we take it verbatim for what it says and just love him and do it. Shabbat Shalom to all of my viewers. I thank you so much, so very much, for watching, encouraging others to watch, for supporting, for praying, for your comments. Shabbat Shalom to you, and we'll see you again next week.